Hey guys, Marco here from Aviero Live CS. Welcome back to the channel. Today we have the last part of our engines and APU system review. Before we start, I want to talk about a few things. First of all, I want to thank Captain Pat Boone again for allowing me to use some extracts from the Boeing 737 MRG app. I'm going to leave a link in the description below. You guys go to his website, check it out. You're not going to regret buying this app. So today we are going to talk about abnormal operations, and we are going to review the non-normal checklist. A few things I want to point out here. This checklist, some of them, they are very long, so I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm just going to read the condition and the objective of the checklist. So I prefer to talk about other explanations that Captain Boone has in the MRG and definitions. Also, we can insert there some FCTM information. So let me know how this works for you. If it is good, we'll keep doing it this way and we save some time. The checklists are going to be there. You are going to be able to read all of them when you have time. So always remember, always check the updated versions of the QRH. This one is fine, but always keep an eye on the updates. All right, so also, we have some fire-related non-normal checklists here. I'm not going to talk about them in this video. We are going to review that in the fire protection system review, which is going to be the next system we are going to talk about in the next videos. Okay, so let's review the non-normal checklist we have available here. Let's start with the aborted engine start. And the condition says on the ground, an aborted engine start is needed. Objective is to shut down the engine and motor it. The first step, remember this is a memory item, engine start lever, affected engine, cut off. So during ground starts, the EEC monitors engine parameters to detect impending hot starts, engine stalls, EGT start limit exceedances, wet starts. These protection features do not function during in-flight starts. Now, in the FCOM, in the amplified procedures, we can see this text that says, do the aborted engine start checklist for one or more of the following abort start conditions. The N1 or N2 does not increase or increases very slowly after the EGT increases. There is no oil pressure indication by the time that the engine is stable at idle. The EGT does not increase by 15 seconds after the engine start lever is moved to idle detent. The EGT quickly nears or exceeds the start limit. Now, let's talk about the engine limit or surge or stall. Condition, one or more of these occur. Engine indications are abnormal. Engine indications are rapidly approaching or exceeding limits. Abnormal engine noises are heard, possibly with airframe vibration. There is no response to thrust lever movement or the response is abnormal. Flames in the engine inlet or exhaust are reported. The objective is to attempt to recover normal engine operation or shut down the engine if recovery is not possible. So the first two steps, auto throttle if engaged, disengaged, thrust lever affected engine confirm, retard until engine indications stay within limits or the thrust lever is closed. About the limit part, and this is what the MRG says. One or more engine indications, N1, N2, or EGT approaches or exceeds the red limit. However, if you have airframe vibrations with limit exceedance indications, you must accomplish the non-normal checklist engine severe damage. Engine internal damage or defective fuel control unit and various other malfunctions may lead to an exceedance of N1, N2, or EGT red line limits. And now let's talk about surge. Surge is a breakdown of airflow in the compressor, causing the airflow to return back to the front of the engine. Surge is recognized by continuous N1 oscillations, lower N1 compared to the other engine with equal throttle position, or no response of thrust lever movement. Surge is typically caused by internal engine damage, compressor blade fracture, beer strike, and internal tip clearance changes. Low altitude and high power settings produce the loudest surge noise, while high-altitude engine surge causes a muffled noise and light vibration. Okay, so this one says refer to FCTM 8, loss of engine thrust control, for additional information, and that's what we have here. Loss of engine thrust control from FCTM. So I highlighted what I believe is important, but please read the whole text. It's a good reading. The major challenge the flight crew faces when responding to this malfunction is recognizing the condition and determining which engine has malfunctioned. The engine limiter search or stall non-normal checklist is written to include this malfunction. This condition can occur during any phase of flight. Failure of engine or fuel control system components or loss of thrust lever position feedback has caused loss of engine thrust control. Control loss may not be immediately evident since many engines fail to some fixed RPM or thrust lever condition. The last paragraph here says, since recognition may be difficult, if a loss of engine control is suspected, the flight crew should continue the takeoff or remain airborne until the non-normal checklist can be accomplished. This helps with directional control and may preclude an inadvertent shutdown of the wrong engine. In some conditions, such as during low-speed ground operations, immediate engine shutdown may be necessary to maintain directional control. Now let's talk about the stall condition. A stall is an airflow disruption on the N1 fan blades. Engine stall is recognized by a fluctuating N1, often with increasing EGT and engine vibrations. Engine stall produces loud noises. However, if you have A-frame vibrations with abnormal engine indications, you must accomplish the non-normal checklist, engine severe damage. Okay, so here you have the rest of the checklist. So you have time to go through it. And here's step 14, 15, and 16. That's the end of the checklist right there. Okay, now we'll talk about the loss of thrust on both engines. The condition, both of these occur. Both engines have a loss of thrust. Both engine fail alerts show. The objective is to restart at least one engine. Memory items, engine start switches both flight, engine start levers both cut off. When EGT decreases, engine start levers both idle detent. If EGT reaches a red line or there is no increase in EGT within 30 seconds, engine start lever affected engine confirm, cut off, then idle detent. If EGT reaches a red line or there is no increase in EGT, within 30 seconds, repeat as needed. So here you have the part of the rest of the checklist. I will show you these two first. And now I want to talk about what the MRG says regarding loss of thrust on both engines. So the first, you can see the first red alert there is do not confuse with loss of both engine-driven generators. To exclude any doubt, advance both thrust levers and check for engine response. The engine fail indication for both engines also confirms the dual engine failure. And there are many reasons why both engines could fail at the same time, like meteorological conditions, volcanic ash, fuel contamination, dual engine beat strike, dual EEC or FADEC fault. In case of environmental conditions, vacate the area as soon as possible, which may require a 180 degrees turn. So what the FCTM says about loss of thrust on both engines. Accomplish memory items and establish the appropriate airspeed to immediately attempt a windmilling restart. There is a higher probability that a windmilling start will succeed if the restart attempt is made as soon as possible, or immediately after recognizing an engine failure. To take advantage of high engine RPM, establishing airspeeds above the crossbleed start envelope and altitudes below 30,000 feet improve the probability of a restart. The loss of thrust on both engines non-normal checklist is written to ensure that flight crews take advantage of the high RPM at engine failure regardless of altitude or airspeed. If the windmilling restart is not successful, an APU start should be initiated as soon as practical to provide electrical power and starter assist during follow-on engine start attempts. Again, please remember to read the whole text. This is the rest of the checklist here, so you guys can have them there. As you can see, it's a long one, but it finishes right there on step 30. APU low oil pressure. Condition: the APU oil pressure is low. The APU shuts down automatically. APU switch off. The low oil pressure light extinguishes in 5 minutes. APU overspeed. Condition: one of these occurs. An APU RPM limit exceedance causes automatic shutdown. During a normal APU shutdown, the overspeed shutdown protection logic fails as self-test. APU switch off. APU overspeed light extinguishes in 5 minutes. Okay, EEC alternate mode. The condition is an EEC operates in the alternate control mode. So on the right side, you can see some of the conditions for the soft and hard alternate modes. Remember, we talked about them in our previous videos. I will leave a link above so you can go there if you want to review that video. Okay, let's go to the next one. Is engine control. Condition: an engine control system full course. Note: an engine control light illuminates on the ground only. Do not take off. To the right side, you have the conditions why this light comes on. The engine failure or shutdown non-normal checklist. And we have no memory items for this checklist, so I'll put the whole checklist here. You can read it. The condition says one of these occurs. An engine failure, an engine fail alert shows, an engine flame out, another checklist directs an engine shutdown. So the FCTM has a recommended technique for an in-flight engine shutdown. And remember, there have been many cases where the crews, they shut down the operating engine instead of the fail engine. So that's why we have this here. You have to be very careful with the steps. So please read it. It's very important to know. And I want to share with you these images here. I don't know if you have seen them before or not. Maybe I'm pretty sure they are on the internet. But they helped me a lot to learn how to identify an engine malfunction. So here you can see flame out, how it looks with the engine parameters, the EEC fault. And this is at least what you can expect to see: the severe damage and separation. Engine high oil temperature. The condition: the engine oil temperature is high. Engine oil system indications, and this is information we can find in the FCTM. Oil pressure is considered as the most significant of several oil system indications. While engine operation is governed by both oil pressure and oil temperature limits, there is no minimum oil quantity limit. Therefore, there is no low oil quantity, non-normal checklist in the QRH. If abnormal oil quantity indications are observed, check oil pressure and oil temperature. If oil pressure and oil temperature indications are normal, operate the engine normally. Accomplish the appropriate non-normal checklist for any non-normal oil pressure or oil temperature indications. Now let's talk about engine high vibration. Condition: the vibration level is 4 units or greater. A-frame vibration may or may not be felt. So here in the FCTM, we can read about the A-frame vibration due to an engine severe damage or separation. It says certain engine failures, such as a fan blade separation, can cause high levels of A-frame vibrations. Although the airframe vibration may seem severe to the flight crew, it is extremely unlikely that the vibration will damage the airplane structure or critical systems. However, the vibration should be reduced as soon as possible by reducing airspeed and descending. If vibration remains unacceptable, descending to a lower altitude, terrain permitting, of course, allows a lower airspeed and normally lower vibration levels. Once airframe vibration has been reduced to acceptable levels, the crew must evaluate the situation and determine a new course of action based on weather, fuel remaining, and available airports. Okay, let's talk about engine in-flight start. The condition is an engine start is needed, and all of the following are true. There was no engine fire, there is no N1 rotation, and there is no abnormal A-frame vibration. So here you can see the in-flight start envelope. So the MRG gives us some extra information here about other engine parameters, and there is no requirement for N2 rotation. There is no requirement for minimum oil quantity. However, oil quantity should return to normal after engine relight. There is no requirement for oil pressure. When N2 RPM is at or below 8%, the oil scavenge pump may not provide enough pressure to return oil to the tank, causing a low oil quantity indication. So here you have the last page of the checklist. There you go, and that's the end of it. Engine low oil pressure. Condition, the engine oil pressure is low. Cold weather operations, several minutes may be needed for oil pressure to reach the normal operating pressure. During this period, oil pressure may go above the normal range and the oil filter bypass light may illuminate. Operate the engine at idle thrust until oil pressure returns to the normal range. Engine oil filter bypass. Condition, the oil filter bypass alert indicates oil filter contamination can cause oil to bypass the oil filter. There you have the checklist, and in flight, we have this warning here: even if the oil filter bypass alert extinguishes after reducing thrust, the engine must be considered inoperative. Use the non-normal checklist, engine failure, shutdown for fuel balance, etc. And non-normal checklist, one engine inoperative landing, flat 15 as guidelines. Now, one engine inoperative landing condition: landing must be made with one engine inoperative. And first of all, it says plan at flaps 15 landing. This is the checklist for you to read. And that's the end of it. Okay, reverser. Condition: a fault occurs in the thrust reverser system. Expect normal reverser operation after landing. The condition for the light to come on is there to the right side. And here we can read about the reverser light located on the aft overhead panel. Illuminates when the thrust reverser is commanded to stow and extinguishes 10 seconds later when the isolation valve closes. Anytime the reverser light illuminates for more than approximately 12 seconds, a malfunction has occurred and the master caution and engine system annunciator lights illuminate. Note, a pause in movement of the reverser thrust levers past the 10 number 1 toward the stow position may cause master caution and engine system annunciator lights to illuminate. A pause of approximately 16 seconds engages the electromechanical lock and prevents the thrust reverser's leaves from further movement. Cycling the thrust reversers may clear the fault and restore normal operation. Reverser unlock in flight. Condition: the amber reverse indication shows with on command reverse thrust. Note, only multiple failures could allow the engine to go into reverse thrust. On-stowed reverser sleeves produce buffet, yaw, roll, and increase airplane drag. So this checklist is not that long. There you have it. Remember that warning there. Do not activate the reverse thrust lever. Start valve open. Condition: the start valve open alert indicates the start valve fails to close. There you have the checklist. A few comments here from the MRG. The start valve open alert flashes for 10 seconds. The message remains illuminated steady until the position of the valve corresponds with the commanded position. Flashing is inhibited during takeoff and landing phase. The alert illuminates but does not flash. On takeoff, from 80 knots to 400 feet RA, or TOGA plus 30 seconds, whichever occurs first. On landing, from 200 feet RA until 30 seconds after touchdown. Volcanic ash. Condition: volcanic ash is suspected when one or more of these occur. A static discharge around the windshield, a bright glow in the engine inlets, smoke or dust on the flight deck, and acrid odor. The objective is to exit the ash cloud and restart engines if needed. So there is a caution here: exit the volcanic ash as quickly as possible. Consider a 180 degrees turn. Consider a descending turn. And here you have the checklist for volcanic ash. And to complete the video today, I want to talk about the bird strikes. And it says, experience shows that bird strikes are common in aviation, and most of them, they occur at very low altitudes, below 500 feet AGL. So I just want to focus here about the crew actions for bird strike during takeoff and during approach and landing. So let's read what it says for the bird strike during takeoff. If a bird strike occurs during takeoff, the decision to continue or reject the takeoff is made using the criteria found in the rejected takeoff maneuver of the QRH. If the bird strike occurs above 80 knots and prior to V1, and there is no immediate evidence of engine failure, like failure, fire, power loss, or surge or stall, the preferred option is to continue with the takeoff, followed by an immediate return, if required. Crew actions for a bird strike during approach and landing. If the landing is assured, continuing the approach to landing is the preferred option. If more birds are encountered, fly through the bird flock and land. Maintain as low a thrust setting as possible. If engine ingestion is suspected, limit reverse thrust on landing to the amount needed to stop on the runway. Reverse thrust may increase engine damage, especially when engine vibration or high EGT is indicated. So guys, that's the end of the video for today. I hope you liked it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. And if you are not subscribed to the channel yet, please do it now. And if you think these videos could help somebody else, please share them. And that's going to help me a lot to grow the channel. So in the next videos, we'll start talking about fire protection system. Until then, guys, take care and hope to see you soon.